We all navigate a world built on connections, a world where our ability to understand and interact effectively with others often dictates our success and happiness. Long before the digital age, a man named Dale Carnegie unlocked profound truths about human nature, compiling insights that have since empowered millions to transform their relationships and their lives. Today, we're not just revisiting those ideas, we're embarking on a deep dive into 10 foundational principles, each a powerful key in itself, meticulously re-explored and expanded to help you master the subtle art of genuine influence and build truly meaningful bonds. Every piece of wisdom we're about to unpack is designed to be actionable, and each one builds upon the last. So you'll definitely want to stick around to see how they all connect to create a powerful framework for your personal and professional growth. If you're ready to move beyond superficial interactions and unlock a more profound way of connecting with people, to understand what truly motivates them, and to communicate with impact and empathy, then you're in exactly the right place. Prepare to gain insights that can genuinely reshape your approach to every conversation and relationship. So find a comfortable spot, open your mind to these enduring strategies, and if you feel this journey into mastering human connection resonates with you, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps us bring more valuable content like this your way. Number 1, the power of genuine interest in others. One of the most potent yet frequently overlooked secrets to building strong, authentic connections with people is the cultivation and demonstration of genuine, unadulterated interest in them as individuals. In an age characterized by fleeting attention spans and a pervasive desire to be heard, the individual who sincerely takes the time and makes the effort to learn about others, their stories, their passions, their challenges, their perspectives, without an immediate ulterior motive, establishes a foundation of trust and rapport with remarkable speed and solidity. This is not about feigning curiosity through a checklist of superficial questions as a mere social formality. Instead, it involves nurturing a profound and authentic willingness to value the uniqueness of each person, to listen with an open heart and mind to their narratives, and to attempt, even if just for a moment, to experience the world from their distinct vantage point. When someone feels that they are genuinely seen, heard, and appreciated by us, that their thoughts, feelings, and experiences are met with sincere curiosity and respect rather than judgment or indifference, their innate psychological defenses tend to lower. This creates an opening for a deeper level of engagement. Their willingness to collaborate, to be open, to be vulnerable, and even to view us in a more favorable light increases dramatically. It is this authentic interest that serves as the fertile ground upon which relationships of true substance, mutual respect, and lasting significance are built. Consider the profound impact of someone remembering a small detail you once shared about a personal project or a family member. That act of remembering and perhaps inquiring about it later signals that you are more than just a fleeting acquaintance. You are someone worthy of their mental space and concern. This practice requires a shift from a self-centered conversational approach to an other-centered one. It demands that we temporarily set aside our own agenda, our own desire to impress or to steer the conversation, and instead focus entirely on the person before us. It's about asking open-ended questions that invite more than a monosyllabic response, such as "What was that experience like for you?" or "What are you most passionate about these days and why?" And then, crucially, it's about listening to the answers, not just with our ears, but with our full attention, processing the nuances and perhaps even the unspoken emotions behind the words. This sincere engagement validates the other person's existence and importance, fulfilling a fundamental human need to be recognized and to matter. The ripple effects of such genuine interest are far-reaching, fostering loyalty, encouraging cooperation, and transforming everyday interactions into opportunities for meaningful human connection. Number 2. Speaking in terms of the other person's passions. The most direct and engaging pathway to connect with an individual's mind and heart often lies in navigating the conversation toward topics that ignite their deepest passions and interests. Every person harbors a unique constellation of subjects, hobbies, dreams, values, and concerns that hold significant personal meaning for them. When we adeptly steer our interactions into these cherished territories, we accomplish more than merely capturing their attention. We demonstrate a profound level of observation and a genuine appreciation for what is intrinsically important to them. This skillful approach has the power to elevate a mundane exchange into a vibrant, resonant connection, primarily because individuals naturally become more animated, open, and receptive when they are given the space to articulate and share aspects of what they truly love or care about. Instead of predominantly centering the dialogue around our own experiences, achievements, or interests, a common pitfall that can inadvertently signal self-absorption, the true art lies in the discovery and thoughtful exploration of the interlocutor's inner world. This involves actively encouraging them to express themselves on subjects that kindle their enthusiasm, whether it's their professional achievements, the well-being of their family, a specific creative pursuit, their aspirations for the future, or even a cause they champion. By doing so, we not only secure their undivided attention, but also earn their genuine appreciation and foster a significantly increased willingness on their part to, in turn, listen to what we might have to say. Imagine a scenario where you discover someone is an avid bird watcher. Instead of merely acknowledging this and moving on, you could ask about their most memorable sighting or what sparked their interest in ornithology. The ensuing conversation is likely to be far more engaging for them, and consequently for you, than a generic discussion about the weather. This strategy requires a degree of perceptiveness and a willingness to do a little conversational detective work, listening for cues, asking insightful questions, and then actively following those threads of interest. When people feel that you are genuinely interested in what excites them, they feel understood and validated. This creates a powerful psychological bridge, making them more receptive to your ideas, your requests, and your overall presence. It's a testament to the principle that to be interesting, one must first be interested, and by focusing on what animates others, we become far more engaging and influential figures in their lives. Number 3, the importance of beginning interactions with a friendly tone. The manner in which we initiate any interaction, particularly those conversations that carry the potential for tension, disagreement, or conflict, exerts a disproportionately significant influence on its ultimate trajectory and outcome. Launching into a discussion with a tone that is overtly hostile, critical, accusatory, or impatient almost invariably erects immediate defensive barriers in the other person, thereby severely hampering, if not entirely derailing, any prospect of constructive dialogue, mutual understanding, or positive persuasion. Conversely, consciously choosing to approach the other individual with a demeanor that is genuinely friendly, characterized by a sincere smile, words that convey warmth and respect, and a calm presence, can effectively dissolve pre-existing tension and cultivate an atmosphere that is conducive to mutual understanding and collaborative problem-solving. Even when the subject matter is inherently difficult, such as addressing a mistake, delivering unfavorable news, or resolving a dispute, the initial approach sets the stage. Starting with a gesture of appreciation, acknowledging a positive aspect of the person or the situation, recognizing their efforts, or simply displaying an open, composed, and non-threatening attitude can profoundly alter the dynamic. This predisposes the other party to listen with reduced resistance, to engage more openly, and to be more willing to collaborate in finding solutions, rather than retreating into a fortified defensive posture characterized by denial, counter-accusation, or withdrawal. Think of it as extending an olive branch before the conversation even truly begins. For instance, if a team member has been consistently late with reports, instead of starting with, "You're always late and this is unacceptable," one might begin with, "John, I appreciate how much effort you've been putting into the recent project, and your contributions have been valuable. I wanted to chat briefly about the reporting timelines to see if there's anything we can do to ensure they're submitted more consistently." This latter approach acknowledges the person's value first, softening the subsequent more critical point. This principle recognizes that human beings are emotional creatures, and our initial emotional response to an interaction heavily colors our cognitive processing of the information that follows. A friendly opening helps to create a sense of psychological safety, making the other person feel respected rather than attacked, and therefore more capable of engaging their rational mind rather than their fight or flight instinct. It's a simple yet profoundly effective strategy for transforming potentially adversarial encounters into opportunities for positive resolution and relationship strengthening. Number 4, inspiring others by giving them a positive reputation to live up to. Human beings possess a deep-seated inclination to strive to meet the positive expectations that significant others place upon them, particularly when these expectations highlight their most admirable qualities or potential. When we consciously and sincerely attribute to someone a commendable reputation, characterizing them, for example, as inherently fair-minded, exceptionally responsible, remarkably capable, thoroughly diligent, or possessing great integrity, even if they have perhaps only demonstrated nascent signs of these virtues, we are effectively offering them an elevated standard to which they can aspire. This act of expressing faith in their better nature can serve as an extraordinarily powerful intrinsic motivator, compelling them to exert considerable effort to embody and validate those positive characteristics. Instead of habitually focusing on and pointing out an individual's flaws, past mistakes, or shortcomings, a common but often counterproductive approach that tends to generate discouragement, resentment, or even open rebellion, shifting the focus to their strengths, potential, and inherent goodness, while expressing unwavering confidence in their capacity to act in accordance with this more positive self-image, fosters an innate desire within them not to disappoint that favorable perception. This is a subtle yet profoundly constructive method for guiding and shaping behavior, as it appeals directly to the noble human aspiration to be seen, recognized, and respected for one's finest attributes. Consider a manager who tells an employee, "I'm giving you this challenging project because I know you have a keen eye for detail and a remarkable ability to see complex tasks through to completion." This not only assigns the task, but also bestows a reputation for competence and diligence. The employee is then more likely to work harder and more carefully, not just to complete the project, but to live up to the high regard expressed by the manager. Similarly, telling a child, "You're such a kind and considerate sibling," can encourage more acts of kindness than constantly scolding them for selfish behavior. This principle leverages the psychological phenomenon known as the Pygmalion effect, where higher expectations lead to an increase in performance. By verbalizing a positive trait or capability as if it's already a part of their character, we help them to visualize and internalize that trait, making it more likely they will manifest it in their actions. It is a testament to the power of belief, both our belief in others and consequently their burgeoning belief in themselves. Number 5, The art of letting the other person feel the idea is theirs. Human beings, by their very nature, place a significantly higher value on their own ideas, conclusions, and creations than on those that are presented to them or imposed upon them by others, regardless of how logical, beneficial, or well-intentioned the external suggestions may be. This intrinsic bias towards our own cognitive offspring means that when we wish to genuinely influence someone to adopt a particular viewpoint, embrace a new strategy, or undertake a specific course of action, our efforts will be far more fruitful. If we can subtly guide them to arrive at that conclusion themselves, or at the very least, make them feel that they have been an active and significant co-creator in its development. Instead of presenting a proposal as a fully formed, non-negotiable solution, a more effective approach involves planting seeds. This can be done by asking carefully crafted Socratic questions that stimulate their own thought processes, offering pieces of information or observations in a fragmented manner that allows them to connect the dots, or suggesting possibilities in an open-ended fashion that explicitly invites their reflection, input, and modification. If an individual feels a sense of ownership over an idea, believing it to be, in whole or in significant part, their own intellectual property, they will naturally champion it with greater conviction, defend it with more vigor, and commit more wholeheartedly to its successful implementation. This feeling of ownership largely bypasses the psychological resistance and reactance that often arise when people feel they are being dictated to, or that their autonomy is being undermined. For instance, a team leader trying to implement a new workflow might say, "We've been facing some challenges with X. I was wondering, given your experience with Y and Z, what are your thoughts on how we might streamline this process? Perhaps something involving A or B, or maybe you have a completely different take." This invites contribution rather than imposing a solution. The ensuing ideas, even if they closely mirror what the leader initially had in mind, will be embraced more readily because the team members feel they had a hand in shaping them. This technique isn't about manipulation. It's about respecting the intelligence and autonomy of others and recognizing that collaborative ideation leads to stronger buy-in and more enthusiastic execution. It's the difference between pushing a string and pulling it. Ideas are more readily accepted when they are drawn from within the other person rather than pushed upon them. Number 6, the folly of direct criticism and the wisdom of understanding. Directly criticizing an individual, unequivocally pointing out their errors or harshly condemning their actions, however justified such criticism may seem from our perspective, seldom leads to positive, constructive, or lasting change. On the contrary, such an approach is far more likely to inflict wounds upon their pride, trigger feelings of resentment, and immediately propel them into a defensive posture, effectively shutting down any avenue for productive communication. Human nature is inherently self-protective. Most people possess a deeply ingrained tendency to justify their own actions and beliefs, especially when feeling attacked. Therefore, a frontal assault in the form of direct criticism typically only serves to reinforce their existing stance and make them less receptive to any feedback, no matter how valid. A significantly more enlightened and effective approach involves making a sincere and concerted effort to understand the underlying reasons for the other person's behavior or viewpoint. This means looking beyond the surface action to explore their motivations, the circumstances they were facing, their unique perspective, their fears and their intentions, which may often be good even if the outcome was not. Choosing understanding over judgment does not equate to condoning incorrect actions or poor performance. Rather, it signifies a commitment to approaching the situation with empathy, curiosity, and a genuine desire to grasp the full context before offering any corrective input. When an individual feels that a sincere attempt is being made to understand their position rather than simply to attack or belittle them, their psychological defenses are more likely to lower. They feel respected as a person, even if their actions are being questioned. This creates a climate of psychological safety in which they are far more likely to engage in honest self-reflection, acknowledge their part in the issue, and become genuinely receptive to considering alternative perspectives or committing to making necessary amends or improvements. For example, instead of saying, "You completely messed up this presentation," one might try, "I noticed some unexpected figures in the presentation. Can you walk me through your process and what challenges you might have encountered?" This opens a dialogue aimed at understanding, which can then naturally lead to a discussion about improvements, without the accusatory tone that breeds defensiveness. The wisdom lies in recognizing that lasting change comes from internal conviction, not external coercion, and understanding is the key to unlocking that internal willingness to grow. Number 7. The impact of honest and sincere praise. Few interpersonal tools possess the transformative power and the profoundly positive motivational impact on human relationships as the genuine and heartfelt recognition of the qualities, efforts, and achievements of others. Within every human being resides a deep-seated universal yearning to feel valued, to be appreciated for who they are and what they do, and to be acknowledged as competent and significant. Honest and sincere praise directly addresses and satisfies this fundamental psychological need, acting as a powerful affirmation of an individual's worth. It is critically important, however, to distinguish this authentic appreciation from empty flattery or calculated insincerity. Flattery, which is often perceived as manipulative or self-serving, tends to breed cynicism and distrust rather than genuine goodwill. True praise, on the other hand, is specific, earned, and delivered from the heart. It points to particular actions, skills, or characteristics that are genuinely commendable. When we take the time to sincerely highlight a specific commendable effort someone has made, a particular skill they have demonstrated effectively, a thoughtful act of kindness they have performed, or an admirable quality they consistently exhibit, we achieve far more than just a fleeting feel-good moment. We actively elevate their spirit, significantly bolster their self-esteem, reinforce positive behaviors, and foster an environment rich in positivity, mutual respect, and reciprocity. People are naturally inclined to invest more effort, demonstrate greater loyalty, and exhibit a more cooperative attitude towards those individuals who authentically recognize and affirm their value. Thus, sincere praise becomes an invaluable instrument for inspiring excellence, building morale, strengthening bonds, and creating a virtuous cycle of positive reinforcement within personal and professional settings alike. Consider the difference between a generic "good job" and a more specific "Sarah, the way you handled that difficult client call with such patience and found a creative solution was truly impressive. It saved us a lot of trouble." The latter is far more impactful because it's concrete and shows genuine observation. Such acknowledgements can fuel motivation more effectively than many other incentives, as they speak directly to our intrinsic need for recognition and respect. Number 8, arousing an eager want, motivating others by aligning with their desires. If our objective is to inspire another person to undertake a particular action, embrace a novel idea, or support a specific cause, the most consistently effective and sustainable path is not to attempt to impose our will, showcase our authority, or focus exclusively on the benefits that accrue to us. Instead, true motivational artistry lies in awakening within that individual an ardent intrinsic desire to do the thing we are proposing. This sophisticated approach necessitates a deep and empathetic understanding of what that other person genuinely wants, what their most pressing needs are, what ambitions drive them, what problems they are seeking to solve, or what interests and values they hold dear. Once this understanding is achieved, the key is to skillfully and authentically connect our proposal, request, or idea directly to those pre-existing inherent desires. Rather than framing a request as, "I need you to do this for me because it will help my project," which centers on the speaker's needs, a far more persuasive and compelling approach would be to frame it as, "Embarking on this task could significantly enhance your skills in X area, which I know you're keen to develop, or by adopting this approach, you'll likely achieve Y result, which aligns perfectly with your stated goal of Z." When an individual clearly perceives how acting in a certain manner will directly satisfy one of their own needs, contribute to a personal aspiration, solve a nagging problem, or resonate with their core values, they will feel an internal, self-generated motivation to proceed. This eliminates the need for external pressure, coercion, or manipulative tactics, because the initiative to act springs forth from their own wellspring of interest and their personal assessment of potential gain or fulfillment. This principle is fundamental in sales, leadership, parenting, and virtually any interaction where influence is sought. It requires us to shift our perspective from "what do I want" to "what does this person want, and how can what I'm offering help them get it?" This other-oriented approach not only increases the likelihood of compliance, but also fosters a sense of partnership and mutual benefit rather than one of obligation or resentment. Number 9, respecting others' viewpoints. The danger of saying "you're wrong." To declare directly, bluntly, and unequivocally that another person is wrong is perhaps one of the swiftest and most certain methods to inflict a wound upon their ego, trigger their defensiveness, and effectively slam shut any door to open, constructive dialogue. Such a direct invalidation of their perspective, even if intended with the utmost sincerity and supported by irrefutable logic or evidence, is almost invariably perceived not as a helpful correction, but as a personal affront, a direct challenge to their intelligence, their judgment, or their very sense of self. This perceived attack typically provokes an immediate and powerful defensive reaction. The individual is likely to dig in their heels, clinging even more tenaciously to their original position, not necessarily out of increased conviction in its validity, but rather due to the fundamental human need to protect their self-esteem and resist being publicly or privately diminished. A far more sophisticated, respectful, and ultimately effective strategy involves approaching differences of opinion with a demonstrable measure of humility, open-mindedness, and a genuine willingness to consider that the other person may have valid reasons, experiences, or information that underpins their viewpoint, even if we do not currently share or fully understand it. Employing phrases such as, "That's an interesting way to look at it. Help me understand your thinking on that a bit more," or "I can see why you might feel that way. From my perspective, I've been considering this other angle," or even, "Perhaps there's an aspect I haven't fully grasped. My understanding was slightly different based on X," serves to invite further discussion and mutual exploration rather than escalating into a direct confrontation. This approach keeps the channels of communication open and fosters an environment where ideas can be examined collaboratively, rather than turning the conversation into a battle of egos where one person must win and the other must lose. The goal should be to understand and be understood, and to find common ground or a more comprehensive truth, rather than simply to prove another person incorrect. This respect for differing viewpoints, even when we strongly disagree, is a hallmark of mature and effective communication. Number 10. The magic of truly listening. In a world increasingly characterized by noise, distraction, and a pervasive eagerness for individuals to express their own thoughts rather than absorb those of others, the development and consistent practice of truly attentive and empathetic listening emerges as an invaluable and transformative skill. To genuinely listen transcends the passive act of merely remaining silent while another person is speaking. It involves a dynamic and active commitment to understanding the entirety of their message, encompassing not only the spoken words, but also the rich tapestry of nonverbal cues, emotional undertones, and unspoken implications. This profound form of listening demands our undivided attention, a conscious effort to silence our internal monologue and resist the urge to formulate our response while the other is still communicating. It means demonstrating sincere interest through engaged body language, maintaining appropriate eye contact, nodding to show comprehension, and orienting ourselves towards the speaker. Furthermore, it involves asking clarifying and open-ended questions that not only confirm our understanding, but also encourage the speaker to elaborate and delve deeper, signaling that we are actively processing and valuing their input. Perhaps most importantly, true listening requires an empathetic endeavor to grasp the feelings, perspectives, and underlying needs that animate their words. When an individual feels genuinely heard, that their thoughts have been received with respect, their feelings acknowledged without judgment, and their perspective truly considered, they experience a profound sense of validation and importance. This practice of deep listening does more than just allow us to gather more accurate and comprehensive information. It acts as a powerful catalyst for building trust, reducing misunderstandings, and creating a safe, supportive psychological space where others feel comfortable and encouraged to express themselves with complete honesty and vulnerability. It is a cornerstone of strong relationships, effective problem-solving, and empathetic leadership, turning simple conversations into opportunities for profound human connection and mutual growth. It is the quiet magic that allows understanding to flourish. And so, our deep exploration into the timeless art of human connection, as illuminated by the enduring wisdom of Dale Carnegie, draws to a close. We've journeyed together through 10 foundational principles, each a beacon guiding us toward more empathetic, influential, and fulfilling interactions. You've seen how genuine interest can forge instant bonds, how understanding others' desires can unlock motivation, and how even the most challenging conversations can be navigated with grace when approached with respect and a friendly spirit. These aren't just abstract concepts. They are practical, actionable strategies that hold the power to genuinely transform the way you relate to everyone in your life, turning potential friction into an opportunity for mutual understanding and growth. But the true value of these insights doesn't lie merely in knowing them. It blossoms when you consciously choose to weave them into the tapestry of your daily life. The real adventure begins now as you take these ideas off the screen and start applying them, perhaps by making a more concerted effort to truly listen in your next conversation, by offering sincere appreciation where it's due, or by trying to see a situation from another's viewpoint before offering your own. Remember, mastery comes through practice, and every interaction is a fresh chance to hone these invaluable skills. Let these principles become your trusted companions, guiding you to build stronger relationships, inspire positive change, and communicate with a clarity and warmth that not only gets you heard, but also makes others feel truly valued. We sincerely hope this journey has been as enlightening for you as it has been for us to share. If these principles have resonated with you, and if you feel equipped with new tools to enhance your connections, we'd be thrilled if you'd give this video a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss out on future content designed to help you thrive. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which principle stood out to you the most, or how do you plan to implement these ideas? Your engagement truly helps our community grow. Thank you for investing your time with us today, and here's to building a world richer in understanding, one conversation at a time.